better than when we got our butt kicked.
Appreciate it, Josh.
Thanks, Andy. Thank you.
Back to you, Dan.
All right, Andy, the relentlessly positive Josh Pastner, the head coach of the Memphis Tigers in his 5th year as their head coach. Let's check out the starting lineups right now. We begin with the Gators. There's Wilbekin. Michael Frazier can knock down shots. Casey Prather, better than 18 a game. Will you get? And Patrick Young is just a rock in the middle. A senior for Florida. And for Memphis, one of the best backcourts in America. Tonight you'll see Joe Jackson, Chris Crawford, and Jaron Johnson. Yes, they are all seniors. You'll also see Michael Dixon, the Missouri transfer, another senior guard, play a lot for Memphis tonight. Austin Nichols having a nice season, and Shaq Goodwin is the other starting big man. Billy Donovan, the head coach of the Florida Gators. He's won 2 national championships. He's been to 3 consecutive Elite Eights. And now that the pieces have started to come back together with Wilbekin and Hill, it looks like they've got a chance to have a terrific season.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, Dan, it's only going to get better. Santa Claus has arrived already in Gainesville, and he delivered a package by the name of Chris Walker, who is now practicing with the team. How good? Our guy Chad Ford says maybe the best athlete possibly in the draft.
Billy Donovan says he's not ready to help them yet, but he is practicing, still waiting for his eligibility issues to be cleared up, and it sounds like he will play for the Gators at some point in the near future. Florida with the first possession of the game.
Honey, we got some really good athletes on this floor, runners and jumpers. Florida very experienced. As you said earlier, number of seniors have been to 3 Elite Eights. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, it was a great matchup between Jackson and Wilbekin at the point. Frazier has it knocked away out of bounds and over to Memphis.
They do a great job forcing turnovers. Billy Donovan was telling me before the game he's worried about the live ball turnover because they can convert.
Yep.
We saw the stats earlier, what they score off turnovers.
So the first possession now for the Tigers. They are 7-1 on the season. The only loss to Oklahoma State. And as you heard Andy and Josh Pastner talk about, they avenged that defeat by beating the Cowboys down in Orlando. And now Shaq Goodwin is called for going over the back.
Had a little push. Goodwin's really been effective. He was the MVP of that Old Spice tournament that featured a guy by the name of Marcus Smart, who had 39 in the first matchup when they humiliated Memphis. But they showed a lot of guts and heart to come back and beat them a couple of weeks later.
101-80 in the first game with Oklahoma State, and then 73-68 Memphis in the second game. Wilbekin uses the screen, fumbles the ball, gets it back, misses the shot, and down with the rebound is Nichols.
Nichols is going to be a really outstanding player. He's a diaper dandy, getting a lot of experience. Local kid from out of Memphis would have produced so many tremendous high school players.
They've got 4 players from Memphis on their roster. Nichols draws the double team, and he turns it over.
Think about Memphis, he had to replace, when you look at Josh Pastner, the young Josh Pastner, he was kind of shocked when he got the job replacing a guy that did fairly well. What's that guy's name? Calipari.
Pastner is 36 years of age.
He looks 26.
He does look 26. And again, he's an unbelievably positive guy. Look at the running jump hook by Patrick Young.
That could be a big advantage tonight. He has become so effective in that low post. Gary Fisco trying to double up on a wing.
Now rotating back to cover Nichols. Jackson, shaking and baking, finds the open man in the corner. The extra pass. Johnson elevates for the jumper, left it short.
Johnson, an athlete, good defender.
And Wilbekin's pass taken away. Numbers for Memphis. 4-on-1. Jackson slams it.
Tremendous job recognizing the open man, sharing the basketball, being unselfish. Jackson has tremendous ability, very speedy, very quick.
There is no question with Jackson, Crawford, Johnson, and Dixon, this is one of the best backcourt groups in America.
Very deep. Dixon very streaky.
Wilbekin for 3.
I really like him. His mom came over to me today, gave me a big hug. She said, thanks for all the nice things you said about Scotty. I said, well, I'm going to give you a little publicity. She said, but don't forget my husband. He's important too. So I said, Mr. Wilbekin, you get praise as well.
And a foul going against Wilbekin. He just was a game changer against Kansas, was suspended for the first 5 games of the season, then turned his ankle late in the UConn game, didn't play the closing minutes of that game, but was terrific against the Jayhawks. And again, with him healthy and Casey Hill healthy, Billy Donovan has 2 very strong options at the point.
You know what I loved about him in that Kansas game? He made every big play when they needed a big basket.
Goodwin can't handle the pass, Florida ball.
Memphis dominated Conference USA, now in the American Athletic Conference.
We saw Cincinnati in the first game. They're in that conference as well. UConn is in that conference. And for this year alone, Louisville is in that conference.
Well, Cincinnati gave Pittsburgh a loss. Kind of an ugly game. Real ugly.
44-43. Frazier. Nice fake. And he's rewarded with a trip to the line and a chance for three.
Frazier gives him an outstanding perimeter shooter. And he showed ability right there to take the ball to the basket. A little pump fake. Get the score. There's the head fake. Great fake for you young kids out there. Notice the ball and the head fake. That created his opportunity to go to the free throw line.
And the sub now for Memphis as David Pelham is into the game. A fifth-year student, a graduate, a 6'7", who spent his time at GW. He is coming off minor knee surgery that set back the start of his season. Three-point play for Frazier. An early 6-point lead for the Gators, who are 7-2 on the season. Their losses both came on the road, one at Wisconsin and one at UConn. Good ball pressure.
The one at UConn was a buzzer beater.
A Napier basket right at the end of the game. How good of a season has he had so far? A block by Pelham.
Pelham with a good defensive stop right there. He's a beneficiary of that rule that allows you to transfer and be eligible immediately if you graduate.
Good clean block and then off Frazier out of bounds, so it's Memphis ball. And a battle inside. Young is called for the foul. That's a matchup we should keep an eye on. Shaq Goodwin and Patrick Young. They're both listed at 6'9", 240. Now, Goodwin's not small. But when you look at Goodwin and then you look at Young,
there's a difference. There's a difference.
I don't know how they're both the same weight. I mean, his arms might weigh 240.
Tell you one thing, I look at your body, it's been resurrected. I mean, wow, you got a little bit of that look. You're in a weight room, huh?
Your vision is as bad as you claim it is, isn't it? Yeah.
I'm blind in the left eye, and you're sitting on my left.
Johnson, triple team, great find to Pelham.
Great look by Johnson. Pelham with the score. They got some good guys, quality people they can bring off the bench, Memphis.
Hill is in at the point now for Florida, and Dorian Finney-Smith, a transfer from Virginia Tech, has checked into the game as well for the Gators. Hill rejected. Crawford got him.
That one thing, Hill's a great ball handler. Watch the pass here, the extra pass. Going to kick it out. There's the layup. Find the open man. You get doubled up, you got to recognize that opening.
4 minutes in, 4-point lead Gators, and they've got the ball. And a bad pass knocked away, stolen by Johnson. And he hits a flying Pelham who misses it. Saved by Goodwin. And out of bounds to take us to a timeout. Some frenetic action in the early going with Florida up 4 on Memphis.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Corona, proud supporter of the V Foundation, and in part by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you gotta get DirecTV. Call.
Phenomenal hospital there where they really care about people and do a fantastic job.
Talking to Josh Pastner at shoot-around earlier today, the passion that Memphis basketball fans have, it's not unique, but it is special. It is among the best in the country. I mean, every single move is evaluated and dissected, and they have passionate fans.
They weren't happy after that blowout of Oklahoma State, but I think they really got them off their back with that win in the rematch.
Prather inside to Yeget. Not a big score, more of a glue guy for Florida. Hits Finney-Smith, give the assist to Yeget. Florida by 7.
Well, Yeget recognizes Finney-Smith has been a big plus.
Yep.
Came on into the Virginia Tech.
He hit 4 threes last week in the win over Kansas.
Yeah, they were big threes, too.
Goodwin surrounded. Great feed inside. Pelham with a basket.
You know, Pelham gets the deuce. But you're right, Dan. A terrific look by Shaq Goodwin. You know, he's lost about 20 pounds. He's trimmed down. He's much more solid physically.
And he is playing his best basketball right now, averaging better than 13 points, 6 rebounds, and almost 2 blocks per game.
He was sensational in the Old Spice tournament.
Well, how did Prather find a seam to the basket on that drive?
He's had a terrific year. The reason he's been so good, averaging 18 a game, he's healthy. Early in his career, he's had so many injuries.
Johnson, no. And here's Prather. Billy Donovan also saying he knows who he is right now. He's become less of a shooter, more of a slasher. And with the new emphasis this year on hand check rules, it's really helped Prather because he's a guy who can put the ball on the deck.
Okay, one thing about both these clubs, free throw shooting, really suspect. Both way under 70%.
Hill whips a pass to Prather, takes the bump, too strong, loose ball. And we have a foul on the floor, says Jamie Lucky, who's working this game, along with Joe DeRosa and Mike Roberts.
Tell you one thing about Hill, great vision. He's a true point guard. He's thinking pass all the time, a little bit suspect as a perimeter shooter, but he can really get to the rim, and he can also find people. Look at past the man. He looks about 25. You know, you mentioned about him being positive. You should hear his voicemail.
I've heard about this.
Have you heard?
Yeah.
I called him the other day. I could not believe the message.
I've heard people have called, and he's picked up the phone, and they say to him, I want to call again. Hang up, because I want to hear your voice message. What did you hear?
Well, it's all about thinking positive.
Yeah.
He's quoting people about being positive.
He is unbelievable.
Think positive. It's a great message to have. And he's really so optimistic.
He was a walk-on at the University of Arizona, was there when they won the national championship, and Lute Olson was his coach, and it was obvious from the time, really, he was 19, 20 years old, Josh Pastner was going to become a head coach.
He wanted to be a coach. He learned so much from Lute, though. Lute really delegated to him really well and helped him along the way, mentoring him.
Finney Smith, the kick to Frazier, extra pass in the corner, and an air ball on the three by Hill. You just mentioned the shot is suspect.
Yeah, really, they did a great job reversing the ball, but to put it in their hands of the least guy you'd want to shoot the ball from the perimeter.
He's now 0 for 7 on threes this year. Jackson, no. Follow, yes. And Pelham is really giving Memphis some good minutes.
Yeah, Pelham, very cerebral player, too. Very intelligent, knows what's going on. He went for a fake right there.
And Finney Smith makes him pay.
I'll tell you one thing, Finney Smith has been a Marco Polo, a transfer guy that's been a big plus for the Gators.
Michael Dixon with the ball into the game, a transfer from Missouri. Very tough guard.
Had some great moments at Missouri.
Yeah.
Very streaky shooter. The last game he went 0 for 8. He could go like 5 in a row right now. Wouldn't shock me one bit. He's that kind of a streaky shooter.
Pelham looking inside for Nichols, doesn't have him, drives. Rolls off the rim, and Finney Smith down with a rebound. Nice look ahead to Wilbekin.
Okay, 6'8", Finney Smith, good rangeless shooter.
But Patrick Young hollering at Wilbekin that he didn't get him the ball. Young taps it back out, working hard.
Nice play by Young. Give him a second opportunity.
Hill with a drive. And the three from the corner for Frazier.
See, that was created by Hill's penetration ability, and that's what he does well. Can't teach that, Danny. Can't teach that, Dan Schulman. You're going to be able to handle the run.
Yeah, I'm married.
Donovan told us earlier at shoot-around that this is essentially the Florida team you're going to see the rest of the way. DeMontre Harris, who's been suspended, he is not expecting him to come back this season because he has not been doing what he's been told. Now, you mentioned Chris Walker off the top, Dick. At this juncture, he's only been practicing a couple times. They're waiting for the NCAA to clear him, and Billy told me they don't know what the issue is right now for the NCAA. They're being very patient, but they don't know how much he's going to help them because he hasn't been at practice, not been on campus at all because he was taking online classes. And Patrick Young, the forward, even told me, he says, look, great athleticism, really raw, but he's got a lot to learn to play at this level. Got to wait and see how he turns out.
Good ball movement, thank you, Andy, by the Tigers, and Chris Crawford bangs home a three.
Crawford has great shooting ability. Hey, Andy's a proud guy. His daughter played a lead role in Peter Pan.
I know, he showed me the video.
Yeah,
you too?
Singing, yeah. Tremendous.
I'm sure it's on YouTube.
Why not? Proud daddy.
Wilbekin defended by Dixon. Keep an eye on that matchup. Ooh, Dixon running into a hard screen by Finney Smith. And because of that screen, Wilbekin's got room for the three.
You know, I've always liked Wilbekin, passer, defensive player. But Dan, he's made himself a really good shooter from the perimeter.
What a difference a healthy and obviously eligible Wilbekin makes for Florida. He was suspended. Billy Donovan actually said to him in the spring, if you want to transfer, transfer. You got a lot of work to do to get back in the good graces of this program. But to his credit, Coach Donovan says that Wilbekin has done that. He's come back with a much better attitude. Dixon. Offensive rebound. And now Young down with it for the Gators.
They got to get some shots for Crawford. Crawford can make shots. He was MVP last year of the Conference USA tournament.
Frazier with a drive. Knocked away by Goodwin. Loose ball will stay with Florida.
So one thing Florida's done really well is keeping Memphis away from the transition game.
10-point lead.
9-4-1, 3-5-0, 0-5-8-0. Don't be left out. And the post-gala show, the four tops, a little Motown sound, baby. It'll be great. Oh, you never saw me dance to a little Motown.
I've seen you dance. Oh, yes, I have. Yes, I have. And aren't you lucky that Mary Keneally is in charge?
Yeah,
I mean, what a beautiful job that she does
Absolutely
at that event.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Hey, Gold is beautiful. Just ask Rich Sandomir of the New York Times. He wrote a book about boy.
And I heard, you, me, and Billis got a little publicity for giving everybody sitting behind us a clear view of the game on Saturday at North Carolina.
Oh, we did?
Yeah.
I didn't see it. You know, Memphis is not playing that poorly. It's that Florida's playing really well. Memphis just having a tough time making shots.
Nick King misses the three. He's a guy who had some big games early this season, but his productivity and his minutes have dwindled in recent games. Josh Pastner's got a nice problem. He's got a lot of really talented players.
Talked to my buddy today, Dave Gaines, down there in Memphis, about great high school players in Memphis. They got two kids, brothers down there named the Lawson brothers, Dietrich and a kid by the name of Keelan, who signed and not signed, but verbally committed to Memphis. Top 15 in America.
Nice spin move by Casey Prather, also into the game for Florida now. Jacob Kurtz, 6'6" junior, who's gone from a team manager to a walk-on who is a regular now in the rotation.
That's amazing. Dixon with a little drive to the goal. What about Missouri? They've been rolling right in spot.
SEC's going to be interesting this year. There's a travel called on you get. One of our game day games, our SEC stop, will be at Rupp Arena in Lexington. It'll be Kentucky hosting Florida.
You know, I was quoted the other day, and I firmly believe it. Who would have ever believed that Kentucky now would have 3 losses? You mentioned the SEC. My feeling is, in a month, they will be back in the top 10. It's just a matter of getting familiar, get some rhythm, some timing.
Yep.
Don't panic in Lexington.
Hey, look at Kentucky, look at Kansas, which is starting 4 freshmen at times, and very talented teams, but still finding their roles. Dixon rattles home a 3.
He's capable of doing that. He went over 8 the last game. He's made his last 2 shots here. Told you earlier, he can make 5 in a row.
Even with the 0 for 8, he's 44% from beyond the arc on the season entering this game, and Memphis back within 7. Hill at the point for Florida. Nice look. And a rejection. Johnson got a piece of that 3.
I think they're going to find some shots for Crawford. Number 3.
Yep.
They got to get some screens and get him some open looks.
They got all 4 of the senior guards in the game at one time right
They're
now.
playing 4 guards.
Jackson cradles it, kicks it. Extra look. It is Crawford. Got it! Nice call, Coach, and a timeout by Coach Donovan. Memphis making an 8-0 run.
Yeah, he's able to shoot the basketball. But it was ball movement we often talk about. 2 factors in a game. Player movement and ball movement. I watched the penetration by Jackson. He kicks it out. They reverse the ball, and they get it in the hands of the shooter that I was talking about a little bit earlier. Got to find him some shots.
Well, having fun tonight. We're going to have a lot more on Thursday night here on ESPN. It's going to be UCLA and Duke battling right here at Madison Square Garden. Holiday Hoops presented by Kay Jewelers at 7:30 Eastern Time and also live on Watch ESPN.
Talk about offensive efficiency going up and down the floor. Hey, UCLA can't score. I talked to Steve Alford the other day. He told me we're scoring. No question. He said, well, we got to become better defensively, and we got to rebound. And you talk to Mike Krzyzewski, they're looking to be cohesive.
Yeah, and I'd say Mike Krzyzewski would say they can score, but they're looking to get better defensively. They have gotten better defensively since earlier in the year, and they're looking to rebound better as well. That's going to be a great match.
Yeah, I'm super. Hey, we saw Duke at their best against Michigan. They were terrific that night.
Michigan suffering another tough loss, that 2-point defeat at home to Arizona last week. Arizona still the #1 team in the nation.
They're another very dangerous club. When they get that one big win, the same with the Kentucky, get that one confidence builder. I know they're looking at December 28th, possibly being that date to get that win.
Wilbekin splitting the double team. Might have shuffled his feet, no call. 15 on the shot clock. Prather with a 12-footer from the baseline.
Wow, has he really improved? Squared, didn't go out of control and charge, pulled up, medium range jumper, trying to go a little half-court trap.
Johnson loses it.
Some good athletes on the floor.
Here's one of them. Finney Smith, great cut by Prather, but he missed it. Young with a rebound, and he draws the foul.
Oh, a terrific play. Everything except scoring. Great look, penetration. Kids have to learn to attack that 3-second area. You get in that 3-second area, a lot of good things happen. The great players find a way to want to get in there. Kobe, LeBron, the big-time stars. Get in that 3-second area and create opportunities for your team.
Dick's second foul on Chris Crawford. He goes to the bench. Austin Nichols is back in his place. Here's Young. Over his left shoulder, in and out. Loose ball, you get at it. Bodies all over the deck, and Florida's got it. Wide open Finney Smith. Young with another offensive rebound. Boy, he has had some opportunities around the rim.
Look at that quickness. Are you kidding?
And look at that rejection by Prather.
Prather with the shot block.
No, they're going to count it.
Count it for 2. Great fast break by Memphis.
And got to move on to the next play, but I thought it was a pretty good block.
What concerns you a couple of minutes ago to call that timeout?
Well, I think the one thing is Dixon giving him open threes. They've been knocked down back-to-back threes. They're an explosive team. We got to do a better job recognizing personnel and where we're guarding and who we're guarding. And those 2 threes up 10 cut the lead right down to 6.
Appreciate it, Billy.
Thank you.
Back to you, Dan.
All right, Andy, thank you. That's down to 4 right now with 7:35 to go in an entertaining first half between a couple of ranked teams.
So one thing I agree with Billy, the 3-point shot can really change a game completely.
Prather again. Boy, he is in constant motion without the ball, and he's got a knack, Dick, for getting close to the rim and getting open.
Well, Dan, no matter what happens here tonight, there's no doubt in my mind Florida's got a quality year. They really got some talent, and Walker, they say, may not be ready. Forget about it. You can't teach his athleticism. You add that kind of player to this mix, they'll take him up a big-time level.
Prather just called for the foul. It's been a huge senior season so far for Casey Prather, a guy who averaged 6 points per game as a junior, less than that as a sophomore and a freshman. Look, he's tripled his scoring basically from last year to this year.
Unbelievable. He's a healthy kid. You're going to try to trap. I think they're tough to trap, but they're guards. Great ball movement inside. Get the ball to Nichols.
Nichols, a 6'8" freshman, averaging better than 10 points, 5 rebounds per game. Got a bigger opportunity early because of the knee surgery to Pelham, and he's really made the most of it.
He's very active. He was on the all-tournament team in their Old Spice.
Knocked it out of bounds, still Florida ball.
He's a local kid. I think some of the greatest high school players you think about out of Memphis, you got to go with Hardaway.
Yeah.
You sort of go Penny, Larry Finch, who played here years ago, coach at Memphis. You got to think about people like Elliot Perry, John Gunn, the late John Gunn. You can think about Keith Lee, even though it was West Memphis, and outside of
another steal by Johnson, and what a finish!
Oh, Johnson, a great athlete. That's their game, baby. They're dancing on Beale Street right now. They love that. My guy, Mr. Spunky Gates, doing a little dance right now.
He has been a force defensively tonight.
He is a defensive stopper. He really is. Very athletic.
Memphis fans really getting into it. Wilbekin misses the shot. Tip-tack in by Young.
Great job, Young, attacking the glass.
Here come the Tigers back within 4. They've made their last 6 shots. They were down by double digits for much of the half.
Oh, zone right now.
Yep.
What a loose zone.
Well, we have seen Billy Donovan use both a 2-3 and more recently a 1-3-1 with great success.
That 1-3-1 was so effective against Kansas.
Jackson for 3.
They got guys that can stroke it. Jackson was a great high school player in Memphis.
Finney Smith to a cutting Young. And tipped up and in by Yaget.
This one quality basketball game. You got some really talented players on that floor.
There might be more points in the first half of this game than there were in the entire Cincinnati-Pittsburgh game. The Bearcats winning 44-43.
I don't know how the game is. 2020 was players, scholarship players, 3-point shot clock.
What a pass from Dixon to Nichols.
That's that perimeter game. We spoke about it earlier. There aren't many teams that have 4 quality perimeter players like Memphis.
And Josh Pastner loving it. He's as emotional as any of the players that he's got. Floater at the other end for Wilbekin.
This Wilbekin, every time they need a big basket, where do they go? Scotty Wilbekin.
Boy, everybody just trying to catch their breath off the floor and in the stands alike. What a run for both teams.
That's terrific to see that kind of play. Up and down, good tempo. Let the kids play a little bit.
Memphis has now made 8 shots in a row as Goodwin draws the foul. This is what really started the run and kind of got Memphis charged up.
Johnson stepped to the passing lane, and then the great finish by Johnson. Now watch Dixon, great pass inside to Nichols. A breakdown defensively, lack of communication, open guy, they find him.
The foul was on Prather, his second, and he has gone to the bench.
Man, communication, so key to playing defense.
Jackson, long cross-court look to Johnson. Contested shot, not there. And here come the Gators.
That was not a good shot. You're right. Oh, nice pass.
How about that pass?
Nice pass.
Hill to Young.
Oh, Hill. I think Hill's got great vision, great feel. He's got that flair. You can't teach that flair, Mr. Schulman. You have to have that
You got a
flair.
little of it yourself.
You got a little charisma. No, I got mustard. I need a lot of mustard.
Casey Hill, a McDonald's All-American, a freshman out of Umatilla, Florida. Dixon feeling it. And he is fouled by Wilbekin. His second.
Casey Hill, he played over that Montverde. There he is. Look at that great pass. Nice pass, great cut. I love guys that can pass the rock.
So when Hill comes in, Wilbekin can slide to the 2. Hill missed 4 games with a sprained ankle, but is back to 100% as Dixon knocks down the first.
Played at Montverde Academy over in the Orlando area.
I'll tell you what's going to be fun. We've got a game in early January on the 9th. Thursday, we've got Memphis at Louisville. It's going to be a good time, huh?
Really interesting, yep. Over the years, they've had such battles.
Memphis also hosting one of the game day games. Finney Smith called for the job. Memphis hosting one of the game day games with Gonzaga there a little bit later on in the season. We got a good one going here at the Garden. Great up and down, well executed offensively. First half with both teams shooting 50% or better. There's more Holiday Hoops coming your way on ESPN2 tomorrow night, a doubleheader with Texas taking on Marcus Page in North Carolina at 7, and then Stanford and UConn at 9 Eastern. Both games on ESPN2. Holiday Hoops presented by Kay Jewelers. Those two guys right there, Marcus Page, Shabazz Napier, 2 of the best guards in America so far this year.
Absolutely. You talk about Page's improvement. What about the second half against Kentucky? He was absolutely sensational in that second half.
Jackson with the ball, a little trap here.
He can really handle it, man. He gets gaps and seams, creates opportunities for his teammates. So cool.
Averaging 15 points per game. He's the leading scorer on the Tigers. Nice look again by Dixon. It's out of bounds. Stays with Memphis. 9 on the shot clock.
Did step to the ball. Should have stepped right to that basketball there and had himself a layup. Good one. All he had to do was step to the ball. Dixon with great vision. Saw him all the way. Young kids out there, you got to learn. You got to step to the basketball. Don't wait for the ball to come to you. Go out and meet that ball.
Jackson, another great pass, and Pelham another finish.
I tell you, Jackson, great penetration ability. We see Hill. What an advantage when you got guys that can handle the rock and create opportunities by beating guys off the bench.
And they're all seniors. All 4 of these guards Josh Pastner has are seniors. What a luxury and what a rarity in today's game.
He's got a great class coming in next year, though, again. Reloaded.
Knocked away by Goodwin.
Almost out hustled there for the ball.
Yep.
And they got
more hustle.
They got numbers.
Yep.
They got numbers.
And they got the lead. First of the night, and Billy Donovan could not be happy. Twice on the same play, the Gators got out hustled for a loose ball.
Yeah, well, out-scrapped. You know, hustle. Shot Goodwin with a good finish. I like Goodwin.
Frazier into the corner.
Oh, he got fouled.
Yeah, and 3 free throws coming for Devon Walker, 6'6" sophomore out of Winter Haven, Florida.
You know, I'm not shocked when you look at Memphis, their talent level. This is a good basketball team. I'm more shocked they got blown out by Oklahoma State by the score they did. Great hustle play. They're right now, pop the ball loose. Goodwin scores. You know what I mean, Dan? I'm not shocked at all how good they are. They're talented. I was shocked more that they got blown out and humiliated In fact, the 21-point margin wasn't even telling the story. That's how bad they were that night.
Walker knocks down the first. Keep in mind that Florida's been playing for a while without both Wilbekin and Prather, each of whom had 2 fouls. And Memphis has shown a lot of energy here late in the half to get right back into this game. Florida back on top.
Scoring points, man, gives you energy. You make shots.
Both these coaches give you energy, too. If Josh Pastner and Billy Donovan can't fire you up, you can't get fired up.
Oh, you get fired up playing in Madison Square Garden, the Mecca, knowing all the greats that have played here.
Yeah, well, Billy Donovan played here, right? He played here with Providence, and then he spent a year with the Knicks.
And then Mr. Pitino.
Dixon off to Johnson. And down to the rebound is Hill.
Johnson,
you see, look at the quickness battle here between Hill and Jackson, and it's an offensive foul as Dixon steps in to take the charge.
Dixon did a great job beating him to the spot. You already mentioned Billy Donovan playing at Providence. Look at his quickness. Look at his superb speed. Out of control.
He was really waiting on him.
Got a little bit out of control right here, Casey Hill.
There are plenty of time.
But he's going to be a terrific guard for them. You know, you mentioned Billy Donovan playing at Providence. He was a heck of a college player. But he was not even the best player, college player, at Providence.
That year? Yeah.
That year, the best player was Doris Burke.
That's right.
Doris Burke.
They were in the same class.
Absolutely.
Final 2 minutes of a good first half.
Nichols does a good job getting post position. He really spreads his body well.
Young's such a big target defensively in there, taking up so much space. Loose ball, Young's got it. Numbers for the Gators.
Now Jackson trying to get a little fancy to split the double team.
And you get with the lay in Florida by 3.
Take the turnover, up they go. They get a little fast break. Something Florida doesn't do well. You look at their numbers, they're way on the bottom in scoring and transition. Surprises me.
Yeah, it is. So tough to even get a look for Nichols with Young defending him. Nichols will step out. And a foul.
Take a look at the defense right here by Florida. He's going to try to split the double team. They pop the ball loose. And Florida up in transition. And it's run, baby, run. Gator fans going to have a lot to cheer about in basketball. I know it was a tough year in football.
17 foul on Memphis, so will you get stepping to the line for Florida? 1-1.
I like that combination. You get Prather, really athletic, versatile. You can do a lot of things defensively, so flexible.
Yeah, Kenny Smith coming off the bench. That's him with a rebound there. Another versatile player. Even without Wilbekin in the game, even without Prather in the game, there's still a lot of talent out there right now for the Gators.
Trying to get that screen up on top.
Hill to drive. Rejected by Goodwin. 4-on-2. Still loose, and Pelham is in the right place at the right time again.
He's been in the right place all night. He has come off that bench, and he has been a roll-aid specialist, man.
He's the high scorer in the game right now with 10.
He has given them great relief.
And Florida can hold it for the most part, just about a 2-second difference between the game clock and the shot clock.
Got 2 really quality teams, man. Really outstanding athletes.
Six on the shot clock. 3, 1.
He got it off. He got it off.
And a foul was the call. He did get it off in time, and the foul was the call on Pelham. Called for the block. 2 free throws for Florida.
You know, Josh Pastner thinks it was after. No way. He definitely got that off in time. There was contact. Gonna watch the red lights up on top.
Yep, definitely in time.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Hey, stay tuned at halftime, people. I got an opportunity to speak to the crowd about the V Foundation and to do a tribute to a youngster who lost his life, Eddie Livingston, 5 years of age.
1-800-4-JIMMY-V, JimmyV.org. The Jimmy V Classic presented by Corona tonight in New York as the officials confirm. It looks like they'll stay with the call. And you can see Josh Pastner saying, it wasn't a violation. Okay, he acknowledged. And now he's saying 2 shots. 2 shots, not 1 and 1, but they are ruling it in the act of shooting. So
he wanted to be in a locker room already.
He's 4 feet out on the court. He's been out there a lot. He's inside the NBA. He just stepped back. He was inside the NBA three-point line.
He's energetic, man.
He
on that
is.
sideline. Very energetic, very passionate. Same with Billy Donovan. I believe it becomes contagious with his kids. You got a tough situation replacing a guy like John Calipari, won 99% of his games.
Jackson, a decent attempt as the clock ran out. And what a first half here in New York. 41-38. Florida leading Memphis in a great battle between 2 ranked teams. Andy Katz, Republican as well. David Pelham off the bench with 10. He was around the basket and just was very opportunistic in the first half. Andy Katz with some thoughts from Billy Donovan.
That's right. I just talked to Billy, and he said, look, when we built that 10-point lead, it was because we were moving the basketball. He said the Memphis came back in large part because of their offense, meaning Florida's offense, that their poor offensive execution led to Memphis's offense obviously getting going there in the latter part of that second half in the Tigers' comeback.
Big game here tonight at the Garden. Florida 7-2, ranked 16th. Memphis 7-1, ranked 15th, and it has lived up to the expectations so far.
Man-to-man
Double
defense.
screen there to try to free up Jackson. And Johnson hits with an athletic play.
Well, he's very athletic. He's got the great bounce off the floor. Very strong body.
Prather rejected. Boy, just nowhere to go. Got it back, had it stripped again.
It's what they do really well, getting that turnover and run that ball up the court.
There was a great pace if you weren't with us throughout the first half, and the first 30 seconds or so of the second half, staying right in line with that.
I think the one thing you got to do with Memphis, you got to make that play 5-on-5.
Great look, Jackson.
If they're able to get numbers again in transition, they're going to blow you away.
Yep.
You got to make them play 5-on-5.
Frazier, dangerous from beyond the arc.
Swing the ball side to side, you usually get good opportunities. It's all about shot selection.
Wilbekin threw it away. Got caught in the air. Jackson, Johnson.
I tell you what, he's an athlete, man. He can really run. He can jump. When we talk about athleticism, we're talking about quickness, jumping ability, explosiveness, and that's Johnson's game. And that's Memphis's game. Turnover to layup.
6'3" senior Jaren Johnson giving Memphis the lead. And a lot of noisy Tiger fans to our right here at the Garden in New York.
I think you should have a lot to cheer about this year down there on Beale Street.
Prather again, much more of a driver than a shooter, but he finds a way to get in near the rim and draw fouls.
Well, he can right in the seam right there and creating that opportunity over change the direction. Take a look right here. There goes Memphis. Away they go. And Mr. Johnson with the little J, the jam.
And at the line, Casey Prather. Memphis with the first 2 buckets here for the second half.
You know, what's going to give was our topic on our theme. You look at Florida defensively, they give up only 60 points a game. On the other side, you look at Memphis, they're one of the top scorers offensively, 84 points a game.
They put up 96 on Northwestern State, 98 on Nicholls State, 95 on Austin Peay. Now they've stepped up obviously a notch or 2 in competition with 2 evenly matched teams. Johnson driving again.
Wow, Johnson with a great first step to the basket.
You said it early. There are some athletes on the floor here tonight.
Can't teach that, man. You can teach all your offensive sets, your defensive rotations, but you're not teaching that kind of quickness and explosiveness.
You get rejected by Nicholls. Memphis ball.
Yeah, Patrick Young wide open on the inside and didn't have vision to see him. Look at Johnson. There's that first big step. Good body control, lays it on the glass and gets the conversion.
Amazing for a guy to be running that fast, that hard, and to lay it up off the glass that soft.
He looks like he'd be a heck of a halfback.
Or a free safety, too. He's dangerous at the defensive end. We've seen that tonight.
Double screen up on top.
Touch pass inside. Nichols, no. Goodwin misses the follow.
I got to get Goodwin some touches around the basket. Florida's done a good job keeping the ball away from him. Patrick Young was open again, and they missed him.
Finney Smith for three.
Pretty nice when you got a guy 6'7.5". I can step out and make that three.
Coming off the bench.
Yeah.
He actually, the one game where they had neither Wilbekin nor Hill, he filled in as the point guard and played the top of the 1-3-1 zone.
That's called versatility, multi-dimensional.
Goodwin, nice touch pass again, where they've had some open looks.
I think Goodwin's got to try to take that ball to the goal.
Wilbekin with a nice look. Frazier. Tip back up and in by Finney Smith.
There's the versatility. Steps out, shoots a three. Then he goes inside and he tips one in. What a transfer he has been coming from Virginia Tech. He was there with our own set on hoops, right. Mr. Greenberg.
Yep. Back in the studio tonight with Jay Williams and Kevin Connors. Whoa. Jackson leveled by Young. And then Young wants to help him up. I'm not so sure Jackson was quite ready to get up.
He is certainly quick.
That's a 174-pound guy running into a 240-pound guy built like Superman.
You see the contact right here? Bam! Wow. Wow.
And Florida will use a timeout.
There'll be a transition. Steve Bornstein, former boss of ours at ESPN, will take over and will do a fantastic job. Susan Braun's doing a great job as the CEO and the president, taking over for Nick Valvano, who's still very active and serves on the board. The one thing I love about being with the V Foundation, the dedication of all the people in the office, Mary, people don't know their names, Katie, Sherry, you think about Larry and John Lushke and all those people, Danielle. I think about being here, watching a John Saunders and a Mike Krzyzewski, how dedicated they are, a Harry Rhodes from the Washington Speakers Bureau. People that really love the message that Jimmy wanted to get, raise money for cancer.
And who's sitting right beside you?
Bobby Valvano.
Bobby Valvano.
Bobby Valvano, the family on the board of directors.
Jim's younger brother, and he's doing the radio broadcast tonight nationally on ESPN Radio along with Mark Kestisher.
And that's what really makes the V Foundation. Beautiful people that care.
Finney Smith had all day. Do I shoot it? Do I pass it? And eventually he shuffled his feet.
And Mike Roberts was right there on the call. I mean, I could have seen that with my one arm.
48-46. There's Bobby V.
There's a PO.
Hey. You can mess with me. No, he's got hair. Don't mess with him. You put some work into that today.
He does Louisville games, too.
Goodwin, he's been a great passer tonight. Finds Johnson in the corner.
He has been, but I think he's got to try to finish plays on the inside. A little too unselfish.
Now a Goodwin screen. Free up Jackson. Johnson, he's been a dynamo tonight. Knew he missed it, followed it, kept it alive, but it's Florida ball.
Memphis better in transition. Florida a little better in a 5-man against 5 in the half-court sets.
And Finney Smith traveled again.
Those turnovers can. You can't win games if you're turning the ball over like that. That's a no-no. That makes you lose your hair. How come he doesn't lose his hair?
Tonight, Eric Sebastian, the director of basketball operations for the Memphis Tigers, and talking to him earlier this afternoon, he had quite a scare just earlier in November. He went for a common colonoscopy, which he had to because of family history, and they found a cancerous mass that turned out to be benign. No chemo, no radiation needed. They got it out. That's all they needed to do. He's sitting right there on the bench. Essentially, a month after having surgery like that, he's doing great.
Wow, great story, great news.
Early detection.
Yep.
Early detection.
Yeah, Digger Phelps talked about it a lot. He's beaten cancer twice.
Yep.
Jackson with a floater.
Nice play inside. A little curl move for Jackson. They got talent, man. They got game.
And another goaltending call. Pelham didn't like it at all, but Florida goes back on top. And David Pelham's over saying to Joe DeRosa. I'm not so sure about that. It wasn't Joe DeRosa who made the call. if the ball had already hit the glass. Tough to tell from that angle.
I thought it was a good call. I definitely think the ball was on the glass. I thought it was a good call.
Yep. So Florida goes back on top.
We got ourselves a really good game, man. Game on here tonight.
Johnson behind the back. That is a big-time finish there by Jaron Johnson.
Well, he's been finishing today. He's really been offensively getting to the basket. Good change of direction.
He's been a force at both ends of the floor. Here's Patrick Young. Haven't said his name in a while.
They haven't gotten the ball inside.
He kicks it back out, and Frazier buries the three.
And then Frazier recognizes it, gives a little point. Says, hey, thank you. Got to be unselfish, kids. Patrick Young is a team player. He's all about winning and all about the team.
This is Patrick Young's 121st game for the Florida Gators. A 3-year starter and a 4-year letter winner. Helen inside again, and it's Goodwin with another good pass.
Well, Goodwin recognized the double team. As soon as Jackson got the ball in the post, the defense rotated over, doubled him up, cut down the lane, layup.
Goodwin's got 4 assists in this game. Young lost it.
Everything starts with this little guy. He's the engine that makes him go. JJ, Joe Jackson.
Now Crawford at the top of the offense calling out a play.
As you mentioned, they got 4 seniors out there. Bottom line is next year they got some great players. Kenan Hawkins coming in, Kenan Burrell, Dominic McGee, and Avery Woodson, guards, very talented.
Goodwin double team, tries to split it. Tough shot, Young down with a rebound.
Well, he faded away and should have taken that ball strong to the basket.
Frazier with the extra pass off to Wilbekin, and now they'll set up.
Nice trio on the perimeter, Wilbekin, Frazier, and Hill. Get a lot of player movement. That's the key to getting good shots.
Finney Smith.
That was a good shot. Look at the offensive rebound by Young. Terrific job going to the guys. Shot selection. Great article today by Eric Crisbell in USA Today about Wisconsin and how they get great shots and how they try to minimize fouling and how they try to.
It just looks so much more comfortable, really, with the ball in his hands, so much more than he had it last year. What a good one we've got going here with the Garden. A 3-point lead for Florida. 12:24 to go. Michael Dixon back in as the Gators go zone.
Play the 2-3 zone. They're not using that 1-3-1 like they utilized against Kansas. So you want to go odd, even right now. Put a guy at the point, get 2 guys to draw, slide a guy in the foul line area.
Good D there by Finney Smith, standing up Johnson.
Johnson was up in the air, had nowhere to go. No man's land. Wilbekin, veteran player, under control here on the perimeter.
Prather's been on the bench for a while. He's had a fairly quiet night. Hill, and is fouled by Dixon. And a timeout on the floor. Donovan and Pastner consider their options in a 3-point game. One of the teams to keep an eye on. Of course, had a great run last year back here in New York. And Showman to Dick Vitale and to Cats as well. And a good game between Florida and Memphis. Both teams shooting exactly 50% in the game. The big difference on one side, Florida's out rebounding Memphis like crazy. On the other side, Florida's turning it over more than Memphis has, and that's costly.
Florida's turning it over almost a 2-to-1 ratio more. 13 turnovers versus only 6 right now when you look at certainly Memphis. Memphis doing a great job handling the ball.
Prather back into the game. I said he's been quiet. He's got a quiet 12 tonight. Yes. And almost points 13 and 14 right there. Young hits the deck hard. 5-on-4 Memphis. Jackson to Dixon, rejected by Prather.
Prather with a great defensive stop. Rotated over, gave help.
Frazier has it knocked away. Dixon. And fouled by Casey Hill.
Well, Dixon did a great job creating that foul opportunity.
Some big-time talented players on both sides of this one.
talent's only going to get better, too. When you think about Florida, they got a great kid coming in next year by the name of Brandon Francis. They have a kid by the name of Devin Robinson, tremendous upside. And they got a guard from right out of Memphis. They beat Memphis out for a kid by the name of Chris Chiosa.
Wow.
A passer with eyes in the back of his head, says Mr. Biancardi. He said he's an assist machine.
Finney Smith back into the game as Dixon makes 1-2. And what an incredible follow by guess who? Jaron Johnson again.
Nobody blocks him out. Johnson with that great elevation with the offensive rebound and a missed free throw. That's a no-no. You're going to block out on the lane.
What a night he's had. Finney Smith spins into the double team and then turns it over.
And this is where they excel, Memphis. What's the turnover?
Jackson in traffic.
Oh, that was spectacular.
Yeah, and Goodwin hanging on the rim. Had the right hand up on the rim.
Gonna watch this right now. Johnson steps in the lane, and there is the champ. Nobody blocked him out.
He got the left arm there and kind of strong arm Prather out of the way. And now a technical foul assessed to Goodwin for having his right hand up on the rim. So 2 free throws coming to Frazier.
I like the way you say Frazier. Frazier. Maybe give me a boxing announcer. You know, add that to your repertoire. Did you ever do hockey?
I did do a little hockey back in the day. There's the technical right there. Now, that does not count as a personal.
The only way you can grasp the rim, if you're trying to not injure somebody. There's basically somebody under you that'll let you get away with that, but you're not going to get away with it there.
And Florida back on top. They've led by as many as 12. Memphis has led just a couple of times by just 1. But they are right here with the Gators with a lot of time left to go.
Hey, you look at that SEC, there's going to be some quality competition in there. Many people thought it'd be a landslide. Kentucky, not going to be a landslide. This team here's not going to go away, the Gators.
Well, we saw Kentucky lose to North Carolina on the weekend. Another big win to Roy Williams Tar Heels. 3 wins over ranked opponents already this season for the Heels.
Tomorrow plays a good and much improved Texas team.
Yep.
Rick Barnes, he's lost so many players early to the NBA. That's what's really hurt Texas.
The issue is whose possession is it now? The ball was loose at the time, so they're going to the arrow, which will give the ball to Memphis.
Listen to the Gator chants. A lot of Gator fans here.
They must love their Gators to leave Gainesville in December and come up to New York. A lot of people coming up here to enjoy the holidays. Always a special time here in New York City and seeing a great basketball game as well.
I left Sarasota. It was like 74 degrees, sunshine. Came here, we had to go over an hour before we could land. In terms of up there, circling around.
Wilbekin is fouled by Dixon. The 4th on Michael Dixon. And you can see him just saying, I got 4 fouls. He knows it. Does the bench know it?
The bench should know it. There should be an assistant coach that keeps that in Detroit style.
Yeah, and here comes David Pelham to check back into the game. And a very unhappy Michael Dixon knows he's going to be sitting for a while.
Well, they go for size right now. Bringing in Pelham, gives him some size on the baseline. I tell you, Pelham was so effective in that first half. See, when you look at foul situations for Memphis on the perimeter, it really doesn't hurt them that much because they got enough players they can rotate.
They still have 3 senior guards out there, Jackson, Johnson, and Crawford. Here's Crawford with a great look. Got it!
That was great execution. I mean, he started with the penetration and then went out to the kick out, the touch pass. I mean, that was pure basketball at its best.
Wilbekin with a teardrop, and Florida goes back on top.
And once again, Mr. Wilbekin with the big play. He's flat out not just a good player. Yeah. He's becoming a star. He's a PTPer, man. Prime-time performer.
And he is not afraid, as you say, of the big moment. He wants the ball in his hands when it matters the most. Goodwin muscling in over Finney Smith. Rebound down to Hill. Post coast to coast.
You can't teach that. You can't teach that, Mr. Shoeman. You can't teach that, baby. He goes coast to coast, the rock in his hand, changes to the left hand, lays it on the glass. Terrific play by the diaper dandy, Casey Hill.
There's some fired up fans on both sides right now. Crawford again. Here's Wilbekin. One-on-one with Johnson. Left hand. Memphis ball. Stolen away.
And he hasn't missed the Wilbekin.
And good decision there not to force anything.
That senioritis, you know, too many senior guards today's day and age, man. They leave so early. Quality players.
Prather from the elbow.
Prather has become a big-time scorer for the Gators, the leading scorer. Wilbekin recognized he was wide open and went to their strength.
6-0 run, Florida. Timeout, Memphis.
Tell you one thing, Josh Pastner is in it. I think he works harder than players on that sideline.
Well, when they needed a big bucket, as you said, they so often turned to Scotty Wilbekin, and he delivered another big play just moments ago.
Gonna watch it right here. Splits the gap, and a little teardrop. Look at that floater in the lane. And then we're going to see a little match this, a game of horse, man. Trying to match this baby. Switch it to the left hand, lay it on the glass.
I mean, that's not you and me he's blowing by out there. I mean, he's blowing by some good athletes, and Prather now up to 14.
Well, Prather stepped right in the open seam, and he was found by Wilbekin for the open shot. Great shot selection by Florida, and that's why they're leading. Game of basketball is really simplicity at its best. If you take good shots, you don't foul, you make your free throws, you don't turn the ball over, and you rebound, you know what? You're going to win championships.
And if you don't, you're going to sit beside me here at the table doing games.
And that's why I'm sitting by for 35 years, because I didn't do it with the Pistons.
What a night Wilbekin had against Kansas last week. First game in a week for the Gators. They were in finals, didn't have a game recently. This is just their third game in 15 days, but you know what? It helped them. It allowed them a chance to get healthier. Let's see the response from the Tigers.
It's a big possession for them.
Goodwin cutting to the basket, draws the foul. Upset with himself, he couldn't finish, but he's still shooting two.
He had a terrific opportunity right there. Good two-man play.
ESPN brings you a primetime NBA doubleheader tomorrow night. It begins at 7 Eastern, a great one with the Pacers and the Heat. And then at 9:30, it's Chicago and Houston. NBA Wednesday presented by State Farm.
I mean, when you look at the East in the NBA, it's below the Mendoza line.
Yes, it is.
It is so bad other than those two teams.
Good baseball reference there.
Oh,
Well
you like that, huh?
well
But those two
yeah.
teams are going to be maybe battling to go play for the title this year. When you think about Pacers with Mr. George, who's a terrific player, and the Heat got a pretty good player too. I can't think of his name. It slips me right now.
He's got a chance. He's got a chance to be good. Yeah.
I think they call him the King. Keith James. He has a few followers too.
Almost as many as you do, probably.
You kidding me? A 10-to-1 ratio. Yes.
Frazier off to Prather. Rejected by Nichols. He's done a nice job defending the rim tonight. And then it's off a leg, but whose?
Look at Johnson. He's pointing at the Gators. Pointing at the Gators, but Mr. DeRozan says, no, no.
It is Florida ball.
Joe DeRozan says, absolutely not.
.08 to go, second half, 4-point game. Gators with the lead in the ball.
See, this kid, I wouldn't pressure him at all. I'd play off it. He's a suspect shooter from deep until he can work and show me he can shoot the ball and he can beat you off the bench, Casey Hill.
Young dumped down inside. Finney Smith lays it in. What a nice play by Patrick Young.
Fantastic, and that's why he's so unselfish. He's so team-oriented. He's all about the team, man. T for togetherness, E for effort, A for attitude, and M for mental toughness. Would you have mental toughness to sit next to me for better than that game? That takes a lot of
You ain't kidding. 6-point lead. Jackson defended by Hill. Hill got a hand on it. And then a foul on Casey Hill to take us to the under 8 media timeout. His third. 7:21 to go. Florida, the big fella dishing off the rock, Dick, to make it a 6-point game.
Yeah, here he's down in the post. Double team comes over and finds the open guy. Great look by Patrick Young.
Mind you again about the gala in Sarasota in May the 16th. Is that right?
Yeah,
May
May
the
16th.
Yeah.
Nick Saban, Tom Crean, Mike Bray, four tops with a little post gala dancing. Call 941-350-580 for tickets.
Johnson is fouled. He has had some electrifying moments at both ends of the floor in this game. And that's the fourth foul on Patrick Young.
See, when you have a driver like that, you're going to create foul opportunities. You're going to get people into foul trouble. That could be big. Young going out. They don't have an answer for him. They might have some perimeter players they can play, but Young is so physical around that basket.
So Finney Smith will come back in. So it'll be Yeget and Finney Smith are as big as it gets right now for Florida, with Goodwin and Nichols in the game in the front court for Memphis.
See what I would do right now? I would make Goodwin a primary guy that you want to get the ball to. Get the ball to Goodwin on the inside. Brett Jackson and Casey Hill. There's some super quickness there. Look at this matchup right here. Get over that screen. They switch on it.
Wide open look. In and out for Finney Smith, and Johnson down with the rebound, and he's pushing.
I would go to Goodwin, man. I'd go to Goodwin inside. Get Goodwin some touches.
He comes out to set a screen.
Slide back inside. Play a little two-man game, Jackson and Goodwin. He's got to go inside. He has such a size advantage and strength with Young on the sideline.
Crawford needs some help, 10 to shoot. Johnson, tough shot. Yeah.
Bad shot, bad possession. Really a bad possession. You're down 5 right now. Everything's big. They got Young out of the game. You don't take advantage of it.
Six minutes to play. Hill finds Finney Smith. Back out to Hill. He'll take it, and he'll make it.
I'm going to tell you what. He starts doing that to his game. He is going to be a special player, not a good player. He's got the superb handle. He's quick. The only thing is, he has to make that perimeter shot. He showed where he did.
That's his first 3 in a Gators uniform. 1 for 8 now on the season.
He's a big one, too.
Goodwin threw it out of bounds. He's saying it was deflected, but the officials don't agree.
It's going to be a little danger time right now for Memphis.
And Josh Pastner is going to put Michael Dixon back into the game with 4 fouls as he goes back to the 4-guard look.
Casey Hill, very impressive looking player. Very impressive young kid. And Dixon guarded him with 4 fouls.
Out of bounds, off you get, and it'll be Memphis ball. That's the 16th turnover committed by the Gators. That matches a season high, but they've still got an 8-point lead.
Now Memphis is going to go 4-1. 4 guys on the outside and 1 guy on the inside. Shot Goodwin, slide and post inside.
Jackson jump stop, tough shot.
Nice play by Jackson in the 3-second area.
They've got so many playmakers. Can they get enough stops to make a run? Spinning Wilbekin puts the brakes on.
Puts pressure on the ball.
And you get called for the moving screen.
Yeah, as soon as you're going to move out there, setting that screen. Good call by Mike Roberts. He definitely moved. Got to be stationary. Don't watch him on the outside. Don't watch this moving screen. See, as soon as you cheat over like you did, try to lay that screen.
And that's just the 6th foul on Florida. Memphis has only committed 3 fouls here in the second half.
That's a positive. When you're not fouling, putting people on the free throw line, that's a big plus.
Jackson Nice look. Crawford. Great possession there by Memphis.
Now Jackson went to the right guy. He can stroke the three. He's got great ability in shooting a trifecta.
He's got 4 threes in this game, and Memphis is back within 3.
So I think they're going to get more looks. Jackson's played really superbly.
Wilbekin. Dixon cross-court look. Johnson.
They got that run, baby, run look.
Jackson, that would have tied it.
He's an up-and-down shooter, very streaky shooter. He's aiming the ball. It's not just shooting it in rhythm.
Less than 3.5 to go.
And this is what Wilbekin usually excels. You know, last year in games 6 points and less, Florida was 0-6. This year, the last 3 tight games have won 2 of them in a row.
Prather makes it a 5-point game.
Billy says they're not really overwhelmed by the moment like they were last year. The only close one they lost this year was the buzzer beater by Napier.
Also lost the game up at Wisconsin earlier this year, but they're up 71-66 as Billy Donovan will use a timeout with 3:14 to play. Holiday Hoops continues on ESPN Thursday night. We're excited about this one. 7:30 Eastern Time. The Duke Blue Devils, the UCLA Bruins. Holiday Hoops presented by K Jewelers.
Hey, I'll tell you one thing. Do you think there's any tradition there in those 2 schools? I mean, are you serious? Steve offered somebody a beautiful text today. He said, it's amazing. I grew up about 24 miles away from where John Wooden coached in high school, Martinsville, Indiana, where my dad coached there. And he said, do you realize this? 75 was the last year that Coach Wooden won a national title, and 76 was the first one for Robert Montgomery Knight. He said, here I'm coaching at UCLA, where John Wooden was, and my other idol, Coach Knight, coached me. He said, how much better does it get than that?
And you could probably still send Steve Alford out on the floor and win a 3-point shooting contest with him, right? His son, Bryce, is on the team, right?
Playing well. Has a ratio of 3-to-1. Assist to turnovers coming off the bench.
And Zach Levine coming off the bench.
Oh, special. He's got a few players, too.
Yes, they do. It's going to be a great, great basketball game Thursday night as Wilbekin commits the foul, and that will be the 7th on Florida to put Memphis into the bonus. And that's the under 4 timeout. Billy Donovan was going at it with Jamie Luckey, the official, during the last timeout, and still kind of staring him. It's 7-6-1 for the division, possibly.
Talk about mediocrity.
71-66, Florida over Memphis. Second game of the Jimmy V Classic here at Madison Square Garden. Joe Jackson at the line for the Tigers.
You know, both clubs not really good on the free throw line, but tonight they are excelling. Both under 70% as a team.
You know, great balance for both teams, too. Memphis has 5 players in double figures. Florida has 4 players in double figures.
Not shocked by that at all. They share the ball. They're talented. Right now, they're 9 for 11 on the free throw line, 10 for 12. You look at Memphis.
1 possession game. And still a ton of time, better than 3 minutes.
Good defensive play right there by Jackson to stay in front of Wilbekin, not allowing him to make the turn.
Patrick Young remains on the bench with 4 fouls for Florida. Michael Dixon is in the game with 4, trying to defend Dorian Finney-Smith. Now switches on to Prather. And here is Prather fighting around a screen. Lays it up and in.
Terrific play right there. Great first step. Prather slid. Nice little slide to the basket.
And he's at his season average right now with 18.
Big possession right now for Memphis. This is a must possession.
Is Crawford the guy? As Jackson goes behind the back and is fouled by Wilbekin. 4th on Wilbekin.
Jackson goes back to the line. Gonna take a look at this move right here. Slides and glides, a little handoff. Sees the opening of the defense. It goes right under him and lays it in underhand. As Wilbekin with 4 as well as Young with 4 and Hill with 3.
And Young has just returned.
Can't keep him on the bench now. Number 2:26 in the clock.
1-1 for Jackson.
And you go into the wire. He's been cool on that free throw line.
86% on the season entering the game.
Not bad, because she's going to have the ball a lot in his hands late in the game.
Kellerman and Goodwin out for Memphis.
Little surprise with that substitution move.
So it's Pelham and the 4 guards in the game for the Tigers, and again, it's a 3-point lead.
Got to stay in front of Wilbekin. Got to allow him to make that turn and give the numbers. When the players turning their backs, you're going to see more you man.
And away from the ball, a foul on Chris Crawford. Just the 4th team foul on Memphis here in the half.
Well, you got another foul you can give. We saw fouls during a game with Kentucky, Carolina. 88 free throws were shot. Unbelievable. They don't have any size inside to really play young right now. Cullen really a big guy inside. I'd get the ball to Young on the inside. Screen and roll to go.
Trying to take the ball out of Wilbekin's hands, but Jackson fouled him. That'll be the 5th team foul on Memphis. Still one more to give.
Not a bad foul because you got another one to give his ear. Don't allow him to make the turn.
Billy Donovan hollering out a play. Wilbekin looking over.
That's a big plus, man, when you're not putting them on the free throw line. The entire second half here playing good defense. Can't make the turn on him. Jackson staying right in front of him. He's done it the last 3 possessions.
Billy Donovan will use a timeout, so Florida's down to 1. Well, Casey Prather, the leading scorer on the season and the leading scorer tonight for the Florida Gators. Even though he spent some time on the bench, a considerable amount of time on the bench, some foul trouble, he still put up 18 in the game.
Yeah, Casey Prather's done a solid job all year, averaging close to 18 points a game for the Gators. There he is, splitting the defense. He's a driving player. He's a slasher, a driver. He's spinning into medium range jumper. There he's exploding in the basket. A little handoff, spots the opening, goes right up, little underhand layup on the glass. Casey Prather, starring here in the Big Apple, the last star here at Casey.
Has gone in the 4 years, has gone from 1 to 2 to 6 to 18 points per game.
Man, when I think of Memphis, I think of the time they went to the final game, national championship with the Gene Bartow 73. A big redheaded guy for UCLA went 21 for 22. How did he miss
one, huh? Bill
the big
Walton,
redhead, Bill Walton.
Yeah.
That team had Larry Finch, Dr. K, Mr. Larry Keaton. Look at Jackson. Said, you can't beat me. Got that look in his eyes.
And Prather is fouled by Johnson, who is hopping mad at the call. Thought he got all ball.
I thought he got hand and wrist. Prather's a go-to guy now for them on the inside.
Ooh.
Think all ball?
Well, have another look. Well, you just kind of poked the ball out of his hands, but the foul will send Prather to the line for 2.
We can watch that replay all we want. It doesn't matter.
You're right.
Bottom line is he's going to shoot too.
Goodwin back in for Pella.
Make free throws down the stretch. Vital if you want to close out a game. So many teams lose games in the last 2-3 minutes. They do everything well, but they don't make free throws. That's North Carolina. They'd be undefeated right now if they made free throws. Losing 2 games to Belmont and to UAB. With a stripe hurt them.
Sports Center is next here on ESPN. We've got 1:17 to go here to the Garden with Florida up by 5 on Memphis.
You're Florida, you don't want to foul here. They don't beat you making a shot. You don't want to foul. They got to score.
Timeout, Josh Pastner. And they're down to 1. Well, just a great test for both of these programs here to play another ranked team in such a high-profile event here on a neutral court. It has the feel of a Sweet 16 game or something like that in the NCAA tournament.
It really does. There's a lot of intensity, a lot of emotion, and a lot of athletes. Keep them go up and down the floor. The tempo's been great. The flow of the game. We've seen guys make threes. We've seen athleticism at its best.
who's got more upside? Which of these programs do you think has a higher ceiling this year?
Well, you know, I think Florida for this reason. Chris Walker. I think he's so much better than what they're trying to downplay. Say, well, he hasn't practiced. You wait until he plays. I saw video as he led his high school team to a state championship. Shot blocker, can run the court. He's exactly what they need with their guards. He's going to be a terrific addition for the Gators.
Still awaiting word on his eligibility. He's been cleared to practice. He's in school, but he is not yet cleared to play games.
There's been so many great players that have played in this Jimmy V Classic. Derrick Rose, Paul Pierce, Curry, Randolph, Vince Carter, Jameson. I mean, it's unbelievable. Dylan Williams, Iguodala.
Final minute of regulation. Goodwin is fouled from behind by Dorian Finney-Smith.
A good foul by Dorian Finney-Smith because he had an easy layup. Now he's got to go to the free throw line and convert.
A great pass, by the way, by Jackson after the drive.
Think about guys that Holton Grant played here, Shane Battier, Marbury, Camby. I mean, it's unbelievable. Jason Richardson. And making a free throw to keep it within the realm of a possibility down here now.
One of two for Goodwin, 4-point game. Bonus both ways. Arrow with Memphis. Florida, though, with the lead and the ball.
So
Johnson blew a tire. You have to foul at some point, and if so, who? And it'll be Finney-Smith. Finney-Smith, 71% on the season. Patrick Young's the guy you really want to foul if you have the opportunity to do so.
You know, Memphis keeping it again. When Jackson was on the line, he didn't go 1 for 2 like his teammate did. He made his free throws. Keeping them within the realm right now. You're looking at a scenario, 2-possession game.
1-1 for Finney-Smith.
He's been a great addition, man. What an asset this kid's been since he gained eligibility, transfer. Oh, ripped that one.
Still loose, though.
And again, poor job blocking out on the layup.
Memphis ball on the alternating possession.
So many teams do a poor job blocking out on free throws. Florida's won the last 2 close games that they've had.
Finney-Smith upset with himself as he missed the front end of the 1-1.
It's amazing. Last year, the same bunch of kids were 0-6 in games, 6 points and less.
Jackson blows by Wilbekin and makes it a 2-point game.
What a terrific play there. What a great change of direction to get into the lane. Change to his left hand.
And now they foul Prather. So instead of trying to decide who they're going to foul, they're just fouling quickly to try to extend the game. Prather's 73% on the season.
Take a look at this change of direction. What a tremendous change. Splits the defense, and then he switches to the left hand and lays it on the glass. That little guy can play, man. He may be little, 5'9". He's like 6'9" with the rock in his hands.
Prather at the line, 4 for 4 tonight. 1-1.
He was clutch on the free throw line in the game against Kansas, too. Good rotation, good follow through. You know, I mentioned earlier tonight some great players, high school out of Memphis. Johnny Newman, who went to Ole Miss, was a terrific high school player out of Memphis.
2 big free throws for Prather.
Keep putting the pressure by making those free throws on Memphis to score. I mean, there's no doubt how big this possession is.
Jackson to Goodwin and a foul.
Now Goodwin's going to have to convert on the line. Can't go 1 for 2 here.
And Young has fouled out of the game.
So if it goes to overtime, edge goes to Memphis.
So they lose their big guy on the inside. Florida's going to have to go smaller.
I don't know about you. I don't know where to go tonight. We're staying overnight. We got a game here on Thursday. So let's play a few more overtimes. What the heck? Ask that guy, John said, no, I'm going to get home.
A close first game as Cincinnati defeated Pittsburgh by 1, 44-43, handing the Panthers their first loss of the season, and a close one here in the second game of the Jimmy V Classic as well.
Here goes Goodwin to that free throw line. Talked about it earlier. He's the MVP in that Old Spice. And also featured Marcus Smart. They won the championship, beating Oklahoma State in a payback. That wasn't pretty, but it wasn't really smooth. It's a one-possession game right now.
Gets the roll. 2-point game. Who do they foul? Wilbekin. Johnson was going for the steal. That was not fouling to put him on the line. Johnson was trying to strip him, but is called for the foul, and Wilbekin heading to the line.
And he works up there really. You can just see him confidence. See, they're trying to get the steal here.
But he has not been a great free throw shooter this season. Now, he's missed some games, so he doesn't have a lot of attempts. But including tonight, Wilbekin is 7 for 14 on the season.
And that's not good at all. That's 50% in any book. And no way you want your point guard shooting 50%. Wow. Comes up with some of the stats. For real.
They've got a timeout. Will he use it? Yes, he will. With 10.8 to play, Josh Pastner's going to use his final timeout.
I think right now you're thinking about penetration with Jackson and get the ball. Maybe if they rotate over to Goodwin for a layup on the interior tie, you go to overtime, you got the edge because Young's out of the game. Or if you have a wide open three for somebody like maybe Dixon or Crawford, you shoot the three. But it's got to be within your system, within your rhythm of your offense.
This one has lived up to the expectations. It's been a terrific game. From the moment it began, Florida clinging to a 2-point lead, but it's Memphis ball right now.
And you got to shoot the ball, Dan, with about at least 4 to 5 seconds to give yourself a chance for the offensive rebound.
Well, one guy who's really had a huge impact on this game at both ends of the floor, Jaren Johnson, one of the 4 senior guards. He has made athletic plays at the offensive end and at the defensive end. He's been, as you like to call it, the X factor tonight for Memphis.
Yeah, he really is very solid player, especially in transition. But right now, I would spread the floor and go with penetration because Wilbekin's had a tough time trying to stay in front of Jackson. And you hope that Jackson can either convert or create an opportunity for a teammate. But you want to give yourself time for the offensive rebound. Jamie
Lucky and Billy Donovan trying to mend fences from whatever was between them a few minutes ago. I don't know that either one of them really feels that that's been accomplished, but there are more immediate matters at hand.
Billy will mend fences with no problem whatsoever if he gets the W. Yeah. If he gets the L, there'll be no mending fences.
So Josh Pastner sends out the 4 guards and Goodwin. Billy Donovan, who's without Patrick Young, has Frazier, Wilbekin, Prather, Yeget, and Finney-Smith in the game. So there are some mismatches per se where Memphis has a smaller, quicker player in a couple of spots.
See Jackson's penetration. Just what I thought. There's the penetration. Oh!
And Florida's going to hang on to win it.
Going to win a defensive stop on the other end as Jackson did a great job getting to the rack. These are 2 solid basketball teams. Billy Donovan's kids, again, last year 0 for 6 in games 6 points or less. This year they've won their last 3 in close games.
What a ball game tonight here in the second game of the Jimmy V Classic at Madison Square Garden as Memphis, as you speculated, got the penetration from Jackson. He was not looking to dish. He was looking to score. And it looked like either Finney-Smith from behind or maybe Yeget might have gotten a finger on that shot, and the long rebound ended any chance that Memphis had.
And there's that strong drive he made, but good defensive effort by the Gators. And the Gators got that long journey back to Florida.